Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Damien and I'm going to be showing you around this brand new 2019 Toyota Corolla. Now if you haven't been to this channel before, please consider clicking on the subscribe button down below. Now over the course of this video I want to have a chat around various areas of this car. We're going to have a look around the outside, the inside, have a chat about the tech, the practicality, and what this car is like to drive. I think before we get going with this video, it's important to understand where Toyota are coming from and where they're trying to get to. Now, Toyota has always been about passengers. It's a passenger's car. And they've got three design principles they always adhere to. That's quality, durability, and reliability. Now, recently Toyota admitted that the Corolla was brilliant at what it did, but it just wasn't really a driver's car. It wasn't fun. It's a bit like Magnolia paint in that way. It does exactly what it's supposed to, but it's not really inspiring. The next generation, or the current generation of Corolla, hopefully is going to correct that. And they've added two new design principles. The first is it must be fun to drive, must be a driver's car. And secondly, dynamic styling. Now, if you look at the entire Toyota range, they're actually refreshing most of the models. Now, that is hugely expensive to do. So what they've done is develop something called the Toyota New Global Architecture. And that basically means a single platform for all of the cars to be developed. So if you get the one single platform right, it does mean everything's going to be right across the range. Welcome to the outside of the brand new 2019 Toyota Corolla. I think the badge on the side may have given away what this car is. Now, it is so much more stylish, so much more modern than any other Corolla that's come before it. But that was one of the design briefs that the company had. They wanted to make it more dynamic styling. Now, I don't know what dynamic styling is, but I think in the real world it's that. What do you think? I think already it looks pretty good. Now this model is the top of the range XL model. You've got the design underneath that and then the icon. Now this top of the range model comes with, well, pretty much everything. It's a very, very impressive car, the amount of technology. And this car, surprisingly, is £29,000 for the top of the range, and you could probably barter a bit. Go and see my friends in Uckfield Toyota. I'm sure they can do you a bit of a deal, bit of a plug. Right, this model here, we've got the larger 18-inch wheels. The standard one comes with 16s, but they look pretty good, to be honest. We've got the two-tone paint. In fact, it's actually a wrap, but I think it just finishes it off. It makes it look a bit more aggressive. We've got the indicators on the wing mirror. It's actually a full door as well, so there's plenty of practicality, but we can have a chat about that later. So if we move around the front of this car. Now, I think personally this is probably the best looking part of this vehicle. I think it looks fantastic. It's a lot more aggressive. There's these really sharp lines with the headlights, and these are LEDs. Now, these are standard across the entire range, which I think is great. A bit lower down, we've got LED fog lights. Again, that only comes on the this range of car, but you can have it as an optional extra. You've got lots of sensors everywhere for all of the radar, and that's actually housed under here. So it's got active cruise control, it's got pedestrian avoidance, it's got auto braking, so all of the gadgets you could want. Toyota have always been about being as safe as they can, which is, it's great really, because the roads are not exactly the most safest place to be. So if we walk around the back, if you come with me, again, the back of the car has got the same sort of aggressive lines on the back. We've got the lights, they're very, very similar, these sharp angles. We've got all these quite impressive angles going on here. This It's not actually metal, which is quite surprising. It's a new composite material, and that's the way they've managed to get these very unusual angles. That obviously is. Now, to open the boot, this seems a really easy task, but it's not. Annoyingly, it's under here. And it's only a minor gripe, but you put your hand in, you get absolutely caked in dirt. Where I was expecting it was here, but that's where the rear reversing camera is. You've got lots of sensors, because it's a pretty safe car. It's also got auto park, so lots of tech. When we open it up, we'll do a test. Strange enough, you can already see the pushchair in there. This is 350 litres. So it's not class leading, but it's not far off. I think it's 20 more than the Focus. So it's a reasonable size, but Toyota have actually said that the hatchback is designed really for a two-person family. And if you do need more room, then you can buy the estate version. I think that's pretty good because there's being less compromises. They know their customers. You also got this cover here. It just stops you whacking anything when you put it in the boot, because there is quite a big lip on there. But other than that, one thing I wish it did have as well was a button to actually close it. Again, real first world problems, although you end up doing that and getting dirt over you. So overall, I think this is a good looking car. What do you guys think? Certainly different from the traditional Corollas, hopefully not too different that existing customers won't want it, but hopefully enough to bring a new audience into this rather funky looking car. We've had a chat about the practicality, but we actually need to see how practical is this car. We've got a pushchair here, so let's see if it's going to fit in the back. Right, we need to try and collapse this thing without catching my fingers. So that's gone down. Come over here. Look at that, we've still got plenty of room for other baby things or shopping, so that's not bad at all. Let's go and have a look inside the car, if you want to go around the other side. So this is the back of the Corolla. Welcome. Now, the driver's seat, this is where I'd normally have it, and my feet fit underneath, and I've actually got plenty of room, which is quite surprising. Got these little pockets here so you can put your iPad. Got two vents just down here, and also there's an armrest. Bit of a missing bit here, expecting a little tag or something to pull out, but you haven't. But you've got two large cup holders here. Also in the door there's another cup holder, another little cubby hole, so there's plenty of room. Head height as well, it's pretty good. I'm 6 foot and I'm quite happy with this. We've got these rear head restraints again, so it's not a bad place to be honest. You could quite easily fit 2 people. In the back you might be able to squeeze 3, but overall, also forgot about this, we've got Isofix down here, so it's perfect for a growing family, especially considering we had a pushchair. So not bad at all. This car has so much technology, it's very difficult to know where to start. But I suppose the most obvious place is this large infotainment system on the left-hand side. Now it's split into 3 different sections. So at the moment we've got map, bottom left we've got which power source is being used, and we've got the audio top left. So you've got a couple of ways you can interact with it. We've got the physical buttons on the left hand side. Something about physical buttons I really like. And then also it's touchscreen, so you press on, say, the sat nav and it will come up with the large menu. So you can press menu, go back to the main one, and this is the one I think is quite interesting, probably more than any others, because it is a hybrid. You press that and it will show you which power source is being used. Directly in front of me is the main place you'll be looking, and it's got a host of information. The central part of it, speedo, well that's nothing unusual, but it does tell you all of the other trip computer information. So we've got everything from average fuel consumption, actual fuel consumption, range, whether you've got active cruise control on, speed limiters. There's a load of stuff on there. Also quite a clever bit of kit. It's actually got, it reads the signs ahead of you like now, and it will put what the maximum speed is. So at the moment it's just changed down to 40 miles an hour, and it will start binging at you if you start driving too quickly. Toyota are very, very keen on their safety features, which I think is a really good thing. Roads are they can be so dangerous. Half the time it's actually other drivers causing the problem as opposed to yourself. It's got autonomous braking, so if someone in front of you anchors up and you get a bit close, it will bing at you to give you a warning, and then it will put the brakes on automatically. We've got active cruise control, which means that you'll put it on, say, 60 miles an hour on the motorway, and if the car in front of you happens to slow down below the 60, it will keep a safe distance between you and the car. Fantastic, makes longer distances a lot easier. We've got lane assist, I think it's called, so if you start wandering out of the lane, your side of the road, it will guide you back in. It doesn't grab the steering wheel off of you and go, "You're not going over there, sonny, you're going this way." So it just gives you a slight nudge, and also it will make beeping noises, but you can turn all that off. So if you want to leave it down to your ability, then that's absolutely fine. It can get a bit annoying, but generally I think it's absolutely fine. Toyota have said they want the car to be more engaging, more of a driver's car. So how have they gone about trying to achieve that? As I mentioned earlier, the new global architecture platform is 60% stiffer. We've now got McPherson struts up front. We've got a completely redesigned suspension at the back using multi-link suspension. So that means overall it feels a lot more settled on the road, a lot more planted. They've lowered the centre of gravity by lowering the actual car by 25mm, and also it's got lighter. They've used new composite materials, and not only does that mean it's more agile, it also means it's lighter, and well, that's going to save you petrol. You've got less metal to lug around, and that's got to be a good thing. Interestingly as well, the actual car itself was tuned in terms of handling in Europe. They feel the hatchback that I'm driving, the main market is in Europe. So they've designed it and built it and tuned it to be suited for European driving. And that's perfect because, well, depending on where you're watching this video, certainly for me, I'm in the UK, so it's got to be a really, really positive thing. Let's have a quick chat about the performance of this car. You've got two hybrid options within the Corolla range. Now this is the first, no other European manufacturer actually offers that. So depending on what your priorities are will really depend on which car is for you. The model we have today is the 1.8. Now this is the car that you choose if you want fuel efficiency over anything else. You go for the 1.8. It produces 122 brake horsepower, 163 foot-pound of torque, and will do 60 in 10.9 seconds. So it's perfect for around towns. It will pull out of junctions nicely, but you have to be a bit more patient getting up to speed. If you want something that is quicker, more engaging, a bit more exciting, then you go for the 2 litre. That produces 180 brake horsepower and will do 60 in 7.9 seconds. So depending on what you want out of a car will really depend on which engine. The 2 litre is about £1,900 more expensive. In terms of fuel economy, this model, it claims the WLTP, I think that's the correct acronym. Basically it's a new way of measuring miles per gallon in real world. It says it will get 55 to 65, so I think that's pretty reasonable, to be honest. So the gearbox in this car, well, it's slightly different. The fact it doesn't have gears, it uses something called a CVT. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about what it is. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there. All you need to worry about, it acts like an automatic pretty much. You've got an accelerator and a brake, and that's it. The 2-litre model of the version of this acts slightly differently. There is actually a real first gear before changing over to the CVT side of it. But all in all, I've never driven one before, but it just feels like an automatic. It just sounds slightly different. Well, I've come to the end of my time with this 2019 Toyota Corolla, and I've got to take it back to SLM Toyota in Uckfield. And I want to say a massive thank you to the guys there for lending me this car. Now, in summary, I've done 300 miles. That's A roads, B roads and motorways, and I've returned 54.5 miles to the gallon, which I think is really good considering the type of driving. The two areas that Toyota wanted to improve on were the looks and the driving characteristics. Now, having spent hours and hours over the past few days behind the wheel, I've got to say they certainly have improved the driving. It's quite enjoyable behind this wheel. The ride it's not too firm, it's comfortable enough to not jiggle your teeth out, but it's dynamic enough, it's stiff enough to be able to place this car and have a bit of fun at the same time. Looks was the other really important thing, and they've done a very, very good job at that. The outside of this car looks fantastic. It's easily the best looking Corolla I've ever seen. In fact, compared to pretty much any car in this price segment today, I think it is fantastic. I've had several people actually stop and have a look at the car. In terms of practicality, lots of room in here. We've had 2 people in the back with plenty of leg room. We've managed to fit my daughter's pushchair in the boot. So it's done everything I could possibly ask of it. The only thing I would change if I was going to buy one of these would be getting the 2-litre. The 1.8 is fantastic once you're up to speed, and it's very good fuel consumption, but it just hasn't quite, for me personally, got enough oomph. But that's another £1,900, and like I said, it really does depend on what you want out of a car. If you're after fuel consumption, this model, the 1.8, is most definitely for you. But everyone's different. The best thing to do is go and take it for a test drive and make your own opinion of it. And on that note, I'm going to call this video to a close. If you've got any questions or anything or comments, put them down below.